Welcome back, everyone. Hope you had a good break. Hope you were able to get around and see some people and talk to some of the sponsors. Up next, or right now, I guess, is we have Kim Brown. She's the AM Sales and Marketing Manager from ASTM International, and she's going to discuss the impact of standards on the success of additive manufacturing. So welcome, Kim. You can go ahead and turn your camera and mic on. There we go. Perfect. So if you want to go ahead and share your screen, I will be here, but I'll disappear for now.
All right. Okay. Hopefully everyone can see my screen. All right. My name is Kim Brown. I am the Additive Manufacturing Sales and Marketing Manager, and I wanted to welcome everybody to today's discussion on the impact of standards on the success of additive manufacturing. And I wanted to thank everybody for joining me, and also thank you to Women in 3D Printing and the Type Conference for organizing this fantastic event. It's an honor to be speaking here, and also ASTM International is sponsoring this event as well. And I can tell you, we just finished organizing a large multi-day virtual conference, and it is no small feat. And everything has been fantastic, and I don't have enough great words to say about this event. So thank you. And what are we going to talk about today? So I'm going to give a brief introduction about me and ASTM International for those of you who aren't familiar. And then we're going to talk about standards. I'm also going to review what the Additive Manufacturing Center of Excellence is, and then we'll talk about the community at ASTM and the AM Center of Excellence and how you can get involved. So a little bit about me. I am the AM Sales and Marketing Manager at ASTM International. I joined at the end of June last year. So a fun fact is I joined during the middle of the pandemic, and I've actually never been to our office, and I have never met my coworkers in person, which is very strange. But we have been doing a lot of great collaborations via Microsoft Teams and Zoom and every other type of video conferencing. I have about 12 years of experience in the advanced manufacturing industry. I previously worked at AMT, the Association for Manufacturing Technology, held many positions there, but my last one was the Director of Membership. I'm a proud member of the Women in 3D Printing and also Women in Manufacturing organizations. I got my degree in Applied Economics and Business Administration, and I actually started my career at AMT as an economist, and I was doing research requests for our members and running some benchmarking surveys for the manufacturing technology industry. So a little bit about ASTM and maybe a little audience participation. There's a button on the bottom where you can raise your hand. I'm curious who's familiar with ASTM International? And also, who currently utilizes standards? So ASTM International was founded in 1898, and we are considered an SDO, a Standards Development Organization. And as you can see on the screen, the development of standards on characteristics and the performance of materials, products, systems, and services, and the promotion of that related knowledge. So ASTM International is headquartered in Pennsylvania. Someday, hopefully, it will work out of the Washington, D.C. office, but we actually have staff all over the U.S. and the world. We have almost over 12,000 standards, and they apply to pretty much everything. And anything that you may use, there's a standard for it. For example, walking on a sidewalk, placing your child in a car seat, if you've ever flown on an airplane. So from the clothes that you wear to the place that you call home, ASTM International has standards for all of those objects. There's a lot of numbers on this page, and all of them are really equally important, but some of the things that stand out to me are that we have over 34,000 members in 150 countries, and we also operate in more than 90 industry sectors. We train over 2,000 people each year, and you might ask, why are these numbers important to me? Well, it speaks to a lot of what this conference is about, and ASTM has a Diversity and Inclusion Council, and I think that's really important to share this information, especially with our group. Every voice is unique and every voice matters. And so with an international organization that's touching thousands of people every year, we value every voice, and we bring together people from various backgrounds, cultures, experiences, and genders. And one of the things that I really like about this statement is that it says this is a journey, and each day we strive to further our progress and promote a diverse and inclusive environment for our staff, our members, and the world around us. And at ASTM, we offer many programs internally and externally with our members and with our staff, and those include mentorship for emerging professionals. We also have women's groups, and then well-being and healthy lifestyle groups, etc. I'm also proud to share that we do have a female president. Kathy Morgan has been the president for ASTM for many years. So it's quite remarkable to work for such a large organization that is run by a woman. And so on behalf of ASTM International, I want to reiterate that we are proud to be part of the type event. So let's talk about standards. Why are standards for additive manufacturing important, and how can they impact the overall success of additive manufacturing? Overall, standards further our goals, which is the success and growth of AM. It enables industry to commercialize technology. It also ensures trust by following these standards and procedures, and that allows us to establish a wider AM acceptance by industries. And as one of my former colleagues always said, sales up, cost down. So standards will impact your success in three ways. There's cost savings. You're going to rely on publicly proven standards to save you money and increase your effectiveness. They're also based upon shared resources. They come together by a group consensus, and you benefit by sharing these resources from many different entities. And it also helps you eliminate overhead. You're using a trusted process and methodology, and it prevents you from recreating the wheel and unnecessary spending. So what is the role of standards in general and in additive manufacturing? It helps us specify requirements and communicate guidance. You see here it says, what do you mean? And all of our fun acronyms, which I still don't know what they all mean. But it also helps you document best practices and technical data and defines test methods and protocols. And overall, this helps us accelerate the adoption of new technologies, which is what we're all striving to do. We have standards for general terminology, very specific applications, feedstock materials, processes and equipment, and also for finished parts. How many of you have heard of the Committee F42 on Additive Manufacturing Technologies? This is the oldest and largest committee on additive manufacturing globally, and it was formed in 2009. We currently have over 1,000 members. And as you can see, we touch a lot of the different committees, and that includes steels, powder, medical, plastics, composites, corrosion, aerospace industry, maritime, oil and gas, to name a few. I'm going to speak a little bit more about the F42 committee later and talk about how you can get involved as well. So how does this all work? We've been asked, does ASTM create the standards? Standards development is a collaborative participation of stakeholders with an interest in their development and use. So many of the attendees, sponsors, and speakers here at the TYPE conference are stakeholders, partners, and members that help us to achieve our goals. So you can see we have different partnerships with ISO, the International Standardization Organization. We have strategic relationships and MOUs with a lot of government entities, several partnerships with different certification bodies. And then of course, we also collaborate with other SDOs, standards development organizations like ASME, SAE, etc. So a couple impacts from standards on AM. The first three that are listed here are examples of published standards for additive manufacturing, and these have been released recently. And the last two are current work items that have been registered that we are currently working on. And some of these you see, we're also working with ISO for these standards. And all of this information can be found on the ASTM website, and you can search by any type of a keyword or the actual item number, which is highlighted in bold. And as I mentioned, we have a partnership with ISO, the International Organization for Standardization. And here's just a snapshot of some of our AM standards. And I know this is hard to read, and that's a little bit on purpose, just so you can see how many there are. But the purple blocks are published standards. Green blocks are standards that are in draft, and blue are working documents, and those are activities that are currently in process. And some of these cover general concepts, common requirements, materials and process specific categories, and some are very specialized standards that are application, material, and process specific, like automotive or aerospace. So the ASTM International has the Additive Manufacturing Center of Excellence, which we refer to as the COE. And it was actually launched in July of 2018. So we're about 2.5 years old. And it's a collaborative partnership among ASTM, its members, and representatives from government, academia, and industry. And basically what we do is conduct research to advance the standards across all aspects of additive manufacturing. Overall, we have two main objectives, and that's to coordinate and conduct R&D to support AM standards development and support the education and training of the AM workforce. And so the AM COE correlates with the F42 Committee. The AM COE is leveraged by the F42 Committee and used as a platform to conduct research and to fill the gaps in standardization efforts. So a long slide short, the Additive Manufacturing Center of Excellence can be summarized by research to standards. And to break it down a little bit further, the AM COE is a synergistic and collaborative environment that helps all aspects of additive manufacturing flourish. And we do this through R&D, standards and certification, education and workforce development, and the industry consortia. And how do we do all of this? With the help of our partners. So we have several partners listed, and I'll briefly talk about what each one does. And you can see by the map where everyone is located. It is an international effort. So ASTM International facilitates the R&D and standards development and also enables qualification and certification. Our friends at Auburn University perform R&D and also help us support and develop the programs. EWI and MTC fill the gaps in standardization and support R&D and training and also help build the industry consortia. NASA provides an expertise in R&D for aviation and aerospace and also brings in the government perspective. NIAR leads efforts to qualify materials and strengthens the relationships with the worldwide regulators. And NAMIC manages R&D activities in the Asia-Pacific region. So how does AM COE research to standards? We are funded by ASTM, the government, and also our industry consortia. And once the standard needs are prioritized, we directly support research to develop them. And then we utilize our partnerships in our global network to enable these collaborations. And that allows us to accelerate standards development and keep up with the rapid rate of technology development. So this is a brief snapshot of our current R&D themes and high priority areas. These themes are defined from the input of our R&D team, and they're short-term and highly focused. They also are aligned with the America Makes projects and coordinate and collaborate with our other agencies. And these R&D themes include design and data modeling, feedstock materials, including testing and reuse, AM processes and post-processing, testing and qualification, and that includes NDT. If you'd like to know more information on the AM COE R&D themes, you can visit our sponsorship table and chat with some of our experts. I'm also going to share my contact information at the end. So did anybody catch Addie's presentation yesterday on managing your career ladder? It was early in yesterday's program, But I found it really interesting. And one of the questions that was asked and she answered was, what are the top 3 skills needed for a career in AM? And she answered data analytics, machine reliability skills, and advanced simulation. And this leads me to my next topic, which is keeping up with the rapid rate of technology development. And how is that possible? And that's all possible because of education. And that's why it's important for us to bring education and industry closer together. Basically, it helps us demonstrate the capabilities of AM and increases the quality to grow the future workforce and also upskill the current workforce. What about education and workforce development in AM? We've done some landscape analysis over the past few years, and we've come to a few conclusions. Some of the courses that are offered are long, and they're only offered by universities. Others are OEM specific, which is not ideal for the industry at large. And we found there's a need for certification and training specific to the entire AM process chain. There we go. Sorry about that. So a few key trends and opportunities for education and workforce development in AM stand out. We know that innovation happens quickly and implementation is getting faster. Training needs are also ongoing. We must keep learning. Multidisciplinary and hands-on training is also needed to increase the speed of understanding. And all of this relates to accelerating standards, provides a strong baseline for training. So at the AMCOE, how do we educate the community on standardization and certification? We offer a wide variety of programs for AM, and these offerings are for anyone in industry, academia, and/or government organizations. So we offer workshops on overall AM value chain and specific topics, webinars and seminars that are developed and delivered by instructors from industry, academia, and regulatory bodies, personnel certificates based on roles or competency, and conferences in e-learning, although right now everything's e-learning. I'm going to briefly review these offerings on the next few slides. So we have several upcoming trainings, events, and webinars, including the following workshops. We have snapshot workshops, which are conducted twice a year in conjunction with our ASTM F42 Standards Committee meetings. And these workshops are led by key experts from industry and academia and also serve as a platform for the discussions on the latest development and standard activities. Specialty workshops are on focus topics like aviation and oil and gas. And the image you'll see here is actually from our 4th snapshot workshop, which was held in September. And we had 2 panel discussions. One was on Industry 4.0 and how it relates to additive manufacturing. And the other was on rapid response and qualification and certification during a crisis. Personnel certificate programs provide pathways that allow you to obtain skills for specific roles, whether you are a technical manager, an engineer, a designer, or something in between. And these certificate programs are offered multiple times throughout the course of the year and can also be found on our events page. Participants sign up for the course, we provide the coursework, they'll attend the training, and then they have to pass an assessment to receive their digital badge. And as you can see by the second bullet, there is a standard practice for certificate programs. We actually have an upcoming free webinar on February 18th that gives an introduction to some of our upcoming certificate courses, and I recommend that everyone join, and you can ask some questions and learn more from the experts at ASTM. I mentioned in the beginning of my presentation that we recently hosted our own virtual event. It was originally scheduled for Orlando, Florida, but we had to pivot to virtual. And that was ICAM, the International Conference on Additive Manufacturing. And this was actually ASTM's largest scientific gathering ever. And we had over 300 sessions covering 19 symposia over the course of 5 days. This event was developed by our scientific organizing committee and included topics from 18 of our technical committees. And it also included 7 application-specific topics. And we decided to do it again this year, and it will be even bigger. We've added 7 new symposia to bring the total to 26, and those are highlighted in red on this page. We actually just opened up the call for abstracts, and this includes the student presentation competition. I've actually spoken to a couple students at this event and let them know about the student competition presentation. And it's basically for any undergraduate and graduate student, and they're encouraged to participate in the competition. They submit a paper, they present to a panel of judges, and then they can win cash prizes and awards. But they're also invited to join the conference and learn and network. And it's really important because ASTM's focus on the next generation of AM engineers and scientists is crucial to the growth of our industry. The theme of the 2021 ICAM event is research to application through standardization. So to summarize the impact of standards on the success of AM technologies continue to rapidly evolve across several industry sectors. We continue to see the evolution of applications beyond aerospace, defense, medical, and automotive, and into the energy sector, including nuclear, renewables, oil and gas, etc. ASTM continues to support the closure of the standardization gaps and develop training by relying on key roadmaps and industry needs. We believe in developing agile and innovative solutions as the needs of the industry continue to evolve. Opportunities exist to accelerate standardization. The role of government agencies by defining standard deliverables and project calls is key. And ASTM will actively participate in research to standardization projects. We continue to collaborate and coordinate with other active bodies and are open to new collaborations. An example of that is our interactions with ISO. And ultimately, what drives the industry forward in terms of implementation is the quality and utility of the standards and the training programs that are coming out. So how can you get involved in everything that ASTM is doing? As I mentioned, the standards development as a whole and the AMCOE is a collaborative entity, which means we need your involvement. You can get in touch with the AMCOE and sign up for our newsletters. You can look out for future R&D project calls, participate in existing work items and future work items for standardization efforts that ASTM and the AMCOE are involved in, and attend our upcoming events. Those are the trainings, webinars, workshops, and conferences that I mentioned before. You can also join the F42 Committee and help impact the development of standards. We have several subcommittees that are included under F42, and it helps you stay up to date with the newest advancements in standardization and technology. So I've added some links here, my email address and the Center of Excellence, where you can view some of our events and sign up for our newsletter, and then also to take a look at the F42 Committee and see the different standards, work items, and subcommittees that are included. And I'd also hope that everyone stops by the ASTM sponsorship booth, which is on level 2 in the main lobby, and meet some of my colleagues and chat about this presentation. All right, Kristen, that's all I've got.
Sorry, it takes time for my camera to come back on. So there's a couple questions. Are there any standards for numerical simulations of AM?
That is a great question, Rodrigo. I'm sure there are, because we have thousands of standards. I invite you to send me an email or stop by the booth, and we can talk about that a little bit further. I say booth, I mean table.
Virtual
Come
booth.
by our table. Yes, virtual booth.
There's a question here, is this presentation going to be available later? I can tell everyone, actually, the whole conference, you can purchase all of the tracks, all of the presentations, all the tracks, all 130 of them or whatever it is, for $95. I think you could have registered for that when you first signed up, but we're also going to make it available again as early as tomorrow. So you can see all of these later, and the ones you missed as well. How about that other question from Laura Kramer? What are you doing to incorporate the wide variety of printers, processes, and materials into the standards?
Oh, that's a big question. Not quite sure exactly what you are asking.
I would think it'd have to do with all the events that you guys are holding. There's a lot.
Yeah, I think there's. That's kind of hard for me to answer right now. Laura, I invite you to email me or come by the booth, and we're able to talk about that. I mean, the F42 committee is really responsible for incorporating all this information into the standards and the different work items that we're developing. And because there's so much happening and there is such a wide variety, that's why we have, I think, like 15 to 16 different subcommittees that are part of F42 that focus specifically on the processes, on the materials, and also on the equipment itself. So ever expanding and continuously growing. If there's a specific question, please shoot me an email, or like I said, stop by our table. We're on level 2 and we can talk about it a little bit further, but I am not up to date on all of the standards that we have right now. I think you're on mute, Kristen.
So we have one other question. What do you think is the best way to identify which of the many events that you have to attend?
Oh, that's a great question. I mean, I would love for everybody to attend all of them, but I think it really depends on kind of what your job function is, and then also what is it that you are looking to get out of an event. If you're looking for very specific training, then a lot of our webinars and our certificate courses are the best. If you want to know the most newest up-to-date information and get the most bang for your buck, or you have something to share and present, then I would definitely say our ICAM event in November, the International Conference on Additive Manufacturing. It is a really large event, and it covers so many broad topics that there is a little bit of something for everybody. And it's a very well-rounded event. And so I think that one probably would be the most important.
I can attest to that one for the record, as I've been to that one, and it is a really good event. I think there's more information in that event than I've ever received in any other event in AM. It's very full of really useful information.
Yes, yes. Almost to the point of being overwhelming. There's so much, but we've kind of tailored it so that if you have a very specific need, if you just want to focus on ceramics, well, we have a symposia for that, so you can attend those ceramic specific sessions and then join in some of the other panel discussions, whether it could be on medical devices or something like that. So I would just say, depending on what it is that you're looking for, I mean, we definitely have an event for everyone. Those snapshot workshops are a good way to, spend a couple hours, listen to some presentations, join in some panel discussions, and kind of hear the latest and greatest from a lot of major players in the industry. And right now, the first one's being held virtually. So it's, one day you can join from your computer and get a lot of information. So I think what you're looking for, how much time do you have to commit? And then also, what kind of information are you looking for as it pertains to your specific job or your role in your company?
Great. Well, thanks, Kim. I'm really glad you could join us. And hopefully you can check Kim out later at her table. I think you said level 2. We'll have some more networking later today.
Awesome. Thank you, Kristen. Thanks again for having me.
Thanks for coming.